guys, welcome back to another episode of Skillset Live. My name is Jason Swore, the editor of Skillset Magazine, and of course I'm here with my co-host and good friend, Ben Turpak. What's up, Ben?
Hey, man, what's going on?
That was a nice little intro I gave you.
It was. Made me feel good. I'm feeling a little down today.
Are you?
Not really.
Okay.
Sounded like the right thing to say after that.
You know what you're doing? You're acting. That's pretty badass. You're acting down, and it almost...
My hand is in my pockets, ready to pull some pubes right now.
Oh, wow. That's...
Ready to cry.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the trick, right?
Yeah. I see, that's the thing.
Cut out the inside of the pocket. I watch Friends. I learned all this shit.
Oh, from Friends?
Yeah.
You fucking learned all that shit from
Why
Friends.
not? Hey, listen, if you want to know what the chicks are talking about, you got to watch the shows they're watching. And back in the day, they were watching Friends.
Yeah, Friends.
I was watching Friends.
What about like 90210?
Oh, I love 90210.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you watched Jersey Shore, so that doesn't surprise me, man. So
I'm also a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm down with that, man.
Yeah. Good shows.
Look, man, I like any of those kind of those cult. I guess it's not cult, but you know, I get when you think cult, you think more like horror, or fucking weird shit. But there's also like that one type of pulp culture type of stuff that you can't go without, man. Like I said, Buffy is a great one, man.
You got to kind of know it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, look, man, we have a guest on the phone. I'm not going to keep him waiting any longer, and you guys have seen the graphic, I'm sure, man. But on the phone, we have a former Green Beret turned actor that starred in shows like SEAL Team, Ray Donovan, and movies like Sniper Special Ops, which I can't wait to talk to you about, and also video games like Call of Duty. Guys, we're talking with Mr. Jeff Bosley. What's happening, Jeff?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thanks.
Speaking of intros, man, that was a nice 90 seconds of my life right there.
Well, you know, we try to push it in there, you know.
But, I mean, if you start with pubes and crying and work your way into a Steven Seagal movie, that pretty much sums up the next 50 minutes of our lives.
There we go, man. Awesome. Man, so one, thanks for jumping on. I'm
honored to be here. Thanks, guys.
One day we got to get you out of LA and into Phoenix and make it a little easier, but come down to the studio or whatnot. But in the meantime, this is cool. This is great because I got 1,000 questions about your line of work, and I know we have a lot of our fans, or I would say we have a big military presence as a fan base, and
absolutely,
you know, as you know, most of them want to get out and do something cool, like oh, I want to be in the films, and you know, normally those are all the Navy SEALs or whatever, but
sure,
you know,
that's a requisite. That's when you get out of the SEALs, you actually are. That's like a required career.
Well, you got to write a book first, and then then you start starring in movies.
Well, we've all seen that meme, I assume, floating around. Like it's like a picture of like a hair gel self tanner, and then a book that says how to get a publicist.
Yes.
And it says the Navy SEAL. It's like the Navy SEAL starter kit.
That is so true, though, man. I'm telling you, I love it because I can talk shit about these guys because I have so many friends that are SEALs, and I'll do the same thing. I'll tell them to their face, and they're like, "Yeah, exactly." And I'm like, "Oh,
exactly.
You know, they don't even deny
Navy SEAL. I played a Navy SEAL more than I played a Green Beret.
Yeah, there you go. Right? No
I guess I'm just so pretty.
Yeah, you got great hair. Oh,
I do. I was like, I wonder if that's gonna come up.
You know it's gonna come up, but I'll wait for that in a while, man. But all right, dude. So reading over your bio. I feel like a total fucking loser. Okay, so because you've done a lot of things in your life, and well, let me do this. Let's catch our audience up with your life prior to joining the Army, man. So what was, because you had literally a well-rounded lifestyle, and you've done a lot of things prior to actually becoming a Green Beret. So tell us about that, man.
The short of it is I was raised by I'm not complaining. Luckily my dad is a doctor, but he was like raised in Nebraska. Like his father was a Nebraska dirt farmer. So when I say my dad was a doctor, I don't want people to get too pissed off at me.
Sure.
But so he raised me right and all that stuff in Idaho. And since I was raised around academia, I just assumed you're supposed to high school, college, job, 2.5 kids, white picket fence, death.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, let's do it. And so I did college, and I was the guy. It sucks. I really wish I had cool party stories. I don't have any party stories. I remember I watched a lot of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing anything cool in college. So college I went to on principle. So like just everybody else, I was a pre-med major for like 3.5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then changed my mind and dropped out.
Yeah.
and I worked and then when things went south, I worked at not a truck stop. That sounds shady.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Wait, that's when I got to Hollywood. I did.
Oh yeah.
No, I worked at a truck company, Oak Harbor Freight Lines, and I did all this horrible jobs. And then I was like, wow, college wasn't that bad. And then I went back to college.
Yeah.
And that's when I started. I dabbled in theater, and then I did sports medicine, and finished up pre-medicine, and
Wow.
And that was the college thing. And that's kind of that's the short version of what took me to the military is that I always knew I wanted to do the Army thing, and I just I honestly, and it sounds really cliche, but it got to the point where the older I got, the more I got stuck in my ways, and the more the military just was, I don't know, scary or intimidating or both, but it just was it's not my thing.
Sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, no, wait, hold on a second. Did you skip over a part that you were a firefighter though?
Shit. Yeah. Well, I was a volunteer.
Oh yeah, that part of my life I forgot.
It's hard to be Forrest Gump and remember all the shit you did.
Right.
But I was after the Green Beret, I was a full-time real, a real firefighter.
Uh-huh.
Not to say volunteer firefighters aren't real.
Right.
But in college, I was a volunteer firefighter while I was working and going to school.
Yeah.
And that's where that is, and I'm pretty OCD and pretty tightly wound, and for whatever reason, I took it on rumor faith that to join special forces you had to be at a certain age.
Right.
And I never Googled it, or at the time Google wasn't as much of a thing, and I just took it on faith. And a fellow volunteer firefighter that was, I think, National Guard.
Yeah.
We were just bullshitting about it, and he brought it up, and I go, yeah, I wish I would have. I missed it. And he goes, you're not remotely too old. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh,
and I literally went down to the recruiter the next day. Down the next day, the Marines' door was closed. They were closed to lunch. I knew I didn't want to be a Navy.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a jarhead. I'm a Marine, so I can talk shit.
Exactly. And it was 9 a.m. and they're out to lunch already. And
lunch is let me do my air quotes. That is actually the bar, by the way. So
yeah. They're it's whiskey 30.
Exactly.
And so they were closed. So I went there initially because my brother is a Marine, and the few people that have dabbled in the military, my family were Marines, and they were closed. I didn't want to be Navy because I knew I didn't want to swim, but I knew I wanted to do special operations.
Sure.
And so I was like, all right, Green Beret. Went in, and the rest is kind of history. I enlisted, and then proposed to my now ex-wife the next day.
Yeah.
That's
typical Army right there, though, man.
God,
right?
It was my best friend's advice was, he goes, get married before you go.
Yeah.
And then at first I was thinking all the benefits.
Uh-huh.
He goes, no, you won't be around for the planning phase.
Yeah, good call.
Oh, you're a genius.
Right.
It was awesome. God, I feel bad for my parents, but they had to deal with it, and I didn't. So.
Well, before we jump into that, because I got some Army questions, man. I read that you've earned the Medal of Valor from Colorado Springs Fire Department. What the hell is that? It sounds really nice, man. It sounds like something.
It definitely does.
Very heroic. What'd you do, man? You saved a cat out of a tree or something? What'd you do?
That's the thing. Well, no, it was a calendar.
Oh, oh yeah.
Calendar.
That makes more sense.
No, that's the one thing, and I that's so weird about this industry is you put facts on there, and you let people do what it does. So by no means did I not earn the Medal of Valor. I got the Medal of Valor.
Yeah.
But the truck the company I was on that day, there was this huge city leveling industrial fire in Colorado Springs at the power plant, and it was something straight out of Ladder 49.
Sure.
And we're the first arriving truck on the fire. So that whole crew got a Medal of Valor.
Nice.
It was just because it was just I probably just, as you guys know, in the military, there's all these weird stipulations, and our boxes were just checked.
Sure.
And I mean, not that there weren't guys, myself included, that didn't earn our keep that day. I mean, that was ball, smoke, and fire. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I got a Medal of Valor for that.
That's pretty badass, man.
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was like, oh, okay, and then I feel lame for Googling it, but I was like, oh shit, this is the civilian Medal of Honor.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't feel bad. I had to Google it too. I'm like, Well, first off, Medal of Valor, I was like, it sounds like a video game. I think I played that once. Or
I think it is a video game. I think it's straight up is a video game.
So, but no, that's cool, man. And we have tons of firefighters that listen to the show. And,
sure.
Oh, I mean, that's how it got me to you guys was the guys over at Led by Iron.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great people, man.
So-
Those guys are awesome. In fact, I want to work with them later down the road here. We're actually in discussions and talking back and forth. So good guys, man. And they're firefighters as well, man. So that's cool.
Yeah, they're definitely all they're cross-populate that whole world over there for sure.
So you joined the Army, and were you in the X-ray program? Because I'm a little familiar with. I've done a lot of time with the Special Forces guys over there, even though I'm a Marine. But were you an X-ray?
Yeah, I was an X-ray, and the reason I never, it's not like a secret or anything, but most of the time I just omit by, I don't lie by omission, but I just don't say it because it has such a negative connotation. And I see both sides to that argument. For those who don't know, the X-ray program is basically off the street Green Beret, which doesn't mean it's handed to you, but you don't have to go through, you don't have to before they had this program, don't quote me, but it was more or less you had to be active duty in the infantry, or not even infantry, but you had to be like active duty generic military guy for X amount of years before you could even apply to test for Special Forces to then go to the course and hopefully get the Green Beret.
Sure.
The X-ray program was basic. I think it was designed in the Vietnam era, and then I'm sure just like anything, they needed numbers and they needed bodies.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's by any means a lesser standard. Two different schools of thought on it is that you definitely, you cut your teeth when you're sucking it in the regular military.
Yeah.
Which that was the thing is since I went in older, I knew my best friend was an 11 Army infantry.
Yeah.
He was my constant advice guy, and he said, well, there's two schools of thought, you're going to miss out on a lot of shit you didn't learn as just a regular grunt, he goes, you're going to miss out on that. He goes, but you're older, you're more broken, but you have more mental maturity to offer. So I went X-ray, to do the straight to SF, attempt basically.
I think, and look, man, like I said, I've some of my best friends were X-rays, right? And so I get to hear because that's the thing. I did 20 years, so I'm a little bit more old school. Or even in the reconnaissance field, like when we came in to be a recon guy, you had to be a corporal and do a couple years in the infantry, this and that. Well, then that changed, just like anything else changed, and now you can go street to, getting your ass kicked and all that stuff. So, but I mean, I look back, you're like, well, yeah, what did you miss? And then let me just throw this out here, and anybody's in the Army will laugh at this. Like, what did you miss by not going to infantry?
Well,
misery, pain.
Yeah, the misery. That was the thing.
Wanting to hang yourself in the barracks. So you probably did the right thing, man.
Living in the barracks. Yeah, running through a bunch of barracks horrors and all that stuff.
Right, yeah. No, I mean,
I missed all the diseases. And, that's the thing is it's just the shit you learn, whether it's just lifestyle or even just literally logistics and operation. What you miss, and I see both schools of thought. I by no means wasn't I amazing Green Beret, but I also know I wasn't the one that made the X-ray program look bad either.
Right.
But I always say to young guys, I'll get DMs from strangers about SF and 18 X-ray. And I'm like, it's not, God forbid, you don't get killed, but it's not ever going to hurt anybody to be regular infantry prior to applying for SF.
Sure.
There's no drawback to that. I think there is more of a drawback going straight to SF without military background.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more compensatory mechanisms you got to make up for, whether it's just attitude, education, I literally, do you remember the blue, I don't know what you guys call it, Blue Force Tracker, basically a gun truck's GPS?
Yep.
I remember my first team, my team sergeant goes, hey, Boz, nickname Boz, he's like, go set up the BFT, we're, ready to roll. And I was like, I walked out there to, of course, first rule of Special Forces, act like you know what you're doing.
Yep.
I walked out there and acted like I knew what I was doing. And I got out there. I was like, what the fuck is a BFT? I literally
You're like, big fucking truck.
Clue. I was like, is this a weapon system? And I literally had no idea. I finally had to ask another, ironically, X-ray.
Yeah.
And he was the Charlie, the comms guy. So he had to know.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the Delta. And I'm just like, I need blood. So he schooled me on it. And that was the moment where I was like, that's the shit you miss.
Yeah, that is true. I think though, you going in later in life, you know, like you have an X-ray coming off the street, like or a kid, 18 years old.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll stand by that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I see the guys who are X-rays. I don't know what age you went in. What age you go? Actually, you're.
I was just under 30, so
Okay.
like that was the thing. Is I think I was 28 or 29ish.
Sure. So you kind of you're more mature, obviously mentally as well. You know what I'm saying? Going in, and I think those actually make great X-rays. And I mean, once again, I've had guys on both sides of the coin who weren't X-rays that were I did 10 years in the grunts before I went to Special Forces, and they were horrible. So it's not a big deal, man. I mean,
I think that's the thing is not to ever. I know it'll be a forever comparison, but like the SEALs, technically, the Navy SEAL program is their version of the X-ray.
Sure.
You don't have to serve in fleet before you asked to go to SEAL tryouts.
Yeah.
SEAL tryouts.
SEAL tryouts.
That sounded really cute.
I knew none of this.
Yeah. You didn't know any of this?
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah. So Ben he hasn't been military. I'm trying to immerse Ben in
How
military.
late in life can you decide you want it? You said you went in at what age?
I think I was 27, 28-ish.
So how late, like what's the cutoff? They're like, nope.
That was
old.
the thing is I want to say like there's waiver. I mean, just like anything, it changes constantly, but I think to even enlist in the military, I think you'd be quite a bit older.
Yeah.
But I think SF, give or take a couple years, you have to, there's just like anything, there's a waiverable age, but to start SF from scratch, I want to say it was like mid 30s, but again, don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But
I was just thinking of the
that's
long
the thing
term,
is,
right? Because you start
Jason,
then and you do 20, right?
Yeah, you're going to get out at like fucking 50 years old.
Exactly. You're going to be fucked up.
Yeah.
And miss out on that whole
like
opportunity.
Jason was saying, there's always a good argument because, one of the primary arguments is a guy that hasn't been inoculated in the infantry life since he was 18. It's really hard for those guys to break into the unconventional warfare mentality because they're used to tactics and this has to be this way, where a guy off the street is like, I got nothing to break compares to. So
I think what we would in the reconnaissance field in the Marines, man, I love getting the guys that are in the grunts first, right? And this is for one reason. They don't want to go fucking back to the grunts. So they were like the hardest motherfucker.
Incentive.
Yeah, they're like
once they get to the taste of the good side, they're like, oh, I don't want to ever screw this up.
I remember, I never forget, like we were fucking, I was a recon instructor for a while, man, and we would,
God help you.
You tortured the shit out of these guys. And I never forget, man, we did like a 2,000 meter fin, then we did a beach run, and then we came back, and it was like we were fooling everybody, like, hey, go ahead and put your shit on, we're gonna fucking jump in the trucks, and we're like, oh, trucks ain't coming, we got like a 15-mile fucking road march, and they're all wet and shit.
Was that like cadre rules?
Yeah,
universal, like you guys did that. It's just a thing apparently.
Right, it's just you're mentally just breaking them. But I never forget, like we stop, you stop and break like 10 miles into it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm telling, because everybody was wet coming out of the oceans, and so you're chafed fucking from head to toe. And I'm like, all right, let me see your fucking feet, so just in case, right? And I never forget, this cat takes off his boot, right? And fuck, I wish I remember his name. And so he takes off his boot, and I just watched the whole layer of skin from the toes to then the heel just peel off, right? And just it's sitting there flopping, and there's blood and everywhere. And I'm like, holy shit. I was like, Doc, get up here. And he's like, don't you, literally this guy, he was a corporal and I was like a fucking staff sergeant. He was going to kick my ass. He goes, do not fucking call the doc. I am not going back to 1.7. Right? I'm not going back to 29 palms, motherfucker. He was going to kill me. And I was like, all right, man, well, here's some duct tape, man. Go ahead and
I don't want to go to 29 palms even as a civilian.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah, that shows you the reputation.
And that dude actually, he finished, and I was like, this is a hard motherfucker. And he actually turned out to be a great, he ended up MARSOC and all this crazy shit, man. Yeah. But it's like, little shit like that, he just don't send me back to the grunts, man. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's just like anything, there's always, I think a great team is composed of all the above. You know, the guys, the 18 X-ray, the old 18 X-ray, the young 18 X-ray, the lifers since infantry since 18. Like luckily that was kind of the team I was on, which kind of served well because it's it's interesting.
Did you deploy at all?
Yeah, deployed. A handful of times. My career it was less than 10. Mostly playing in Middle East and like just little J sets.
Nice, right.
But
shit, I didn't ask what group. What group were you with?
Oh yeah, sorry, 10th group.
Okay, so out of Colorado.
Not Fort Bragg, Fort Carson.
I got you. Okay, so
Yeah, so that's why I was a firefighter in Colorado Springs. Is I just stuck around,
now it's
and that was like
together.
that was like Ferris Bueller day off level shit because I was still out processing while in the fire academy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I got to go take a long lunch break, going to the fire academy and
sure.
take a test. It was just sheer shenanigans.
What did you ever get to free fall school? I know,
no, that like scuba school I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But one of my closest friends I made since the X-ray program, we started like day zero together.
Yeah.
He knew you kind of learn each other's weaknesses. I mean, at the time I was around 250 pounds. I'm 6.5 feet tall, big dude.
Yeah.
Running is my fucking nemesis. Like I hate running. And I go, I'm going to go to scuba school. I can swim. He goes, oh no. He goes, all we do is run.
All you do is run.
Fuck scuba school.
Yeah.
That dream lasted about 30 seconds.
Sure.
Then that was, I wanted to, if I stayed longer, I was definitely interested in Halo.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm instantly capable, but I would like to have done it. But I also understand because, the cheapest, the military, the cheapest bidder builds those chutes.
Yeah.
They were rated at 240 flat,
know,
and I was like, shit, I'm going to have to lose weight. And then it just,
well, yeah, when you're weighing that and then you got 100 pounds of gear on, it changes the dynamic. I was a free fall instructor, so that was my last duty. Yeah. So I was down. That's how I got to know all the SF guys because it's an Army school and they had like 8 Marine slots and we were down there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, you're over in Yuma.
Down in.
All syncing up now.
See here, 29 Palms, no Yuma. Oh yeah, that's way better. Fucking Jesus.
Exactly.
Just trade one desert for another.
The thing is, since I've been in the civilian world, I've looked because I still need I wasn't an adrenaline junkie, but I miss the appreciation of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've looked at free fall stuff out here and you got to get a special chute, it's a whole lot of crap. And I was like, well, no wonder they don't Halo big guys.
And it's expensive, man. So to do it civilian wise, it's fucking ridiculous. But you didn't miss anything. You actually done good. It seems like
I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, the bigger guys are always good. I always thought they're easier, man, because you get like a real skinny dude or who's like 6'2" and weighs like 150. They're not as aerodynamic as fat guys.
He's a delicate little flower.
That
was the thing is I was like I couldn't get anywhere fast, but I swear to God I would get there carrying the most shit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, pack mule.
That's the only thing I promised.
Sure. All right, so what was the deciding factor to get out, man?
Honestly, the one thing I'm completely uncensored, but the one thing was an injury.
Okay.
And it was it's not crazy secret or anything. It wasn't like I blew a testicle or anything. But I got an injury and they said, hey, look, you have an option to do this, or stick around or stay in. And I was like, or get out. And I was like, I'll call it good.
Yeah.
And honestly, despite the injury, and I'm sure you'll probably attest to it too. Like, I'm not a warmonger, but I signed up. Whether I even went to like the unit and got to even more secret squirrel shit.
Yeah. We
worked with them at one point, and even they were getting so hamstrung on their operations.
Sure.
Whether it's not to get on a political thing, but I now I would say it's still the same. There's just this the cowboy days are over.
Yeah.
I'm not out. And I was like, you know what, it all is syncing up to work.
Yeah.
That I was like, time to go because, like I said, I mean, especially as an 18 Delta, the Special Forces medic. I had to be like the trigger puller and the hearts and minds guy.
Right.
So by no means was I a warmonger, but damn.
Yeah.
We couldn't fight wars anymore. And it just gave me the incentive. Like if it was still the cowboy days where some shit was happening, 12 strong movies that were being made, etc., it would have been a much harder decision. I probably would have muscled it out and I would have been fine. People have stayed in with way worse injuries than I had.
Sure.
But it just lined up to call it a day.
No, and that's great. I mean, like you said, you did your time and you got out, and now you're in your second career. You're like your 40th career here.
Yeah, no shit. Exactly. I sound like one of those guys. You're like, wait, why do you have so many jobs? That means you're not employable.
From the outsider, like looking in, that seems to be a common reason. Like we hear a lot in this world, right? You guys just get tired of not being in action, too much politics, getting tied up in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was the thing.
Not the first time I've heard it here in the studio.
I mean, like I'm sure you get it too. Is people are like, well, why weren't you a cop? And it's just like, shit, you think we're hamstrung with Green Berets?
No,
cops,
it's nothing
are they
but
even allowed to
paperwork
carry
and
guns
political
anymore?
shit.
You know?
Yeah. We talk about that all the time, man. I mean, we have police coming here all the time.
A lot of close friends that are police officers, law enforcement.
And the shit that they have to deal with, especially these days,
you
can't do anything, man. So, you know.
better have yeah, you better have a mother's permission slip to shoot a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. You're literally
That's probably
right.
not enough.
Yeah, that's probably not enough. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's exactly, and I think that's whether it's military or not. I think, and that was part of the reason firefighting. Like I dug it. Nobody resigns from the fire department after 2 years.
Well, that's all the women. Just love you guys.
There is something weird about those fucking pants, man. You can go to an Arby's. You go to an Arby's, and I don't care what gender. People are like, that guy could be my boy.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I always laugh, man. Like I'll drive down, we're in Phoenix, and they always have these little green belts. There's not much green in Phoenix, so when there is.
Oh yeah.
And like every morning I'm driving by, and there's my local fucking fire department. They're playing frisbee football.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and of course, like my old lady's just like glued to the fucking window there.
I just pictured Top Gun, and you looking at these oiled up like volleyball playing firefighters driving off the road.
Right.
They kidnapped my wife one day.
They kidnapped your wife.
We were on our way into the store off the Greenbelt.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they're coming out of the grocery store, and eye contact, wiping down the cart.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, she's riding off with these guys.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? This is a true story.
Really?
I'm standing there with my son, who's probably like 6 at the time or 7.
Oh, you
didn't even ask him if he wanted to go.
Boy.
It's like, you got to take the kid on the engine, right? And she comes back and she's like, oh, it's just because it's Mother's Day. I'm like, that was last Sunday, shithead. Pull that crap on me. They can get any woman they want. I'm telling you.
You know what though? Like if a whole engine of firefighters takes your woman, you almost got to go. Well played.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, what can you do?
Nice
you can't get upset.
Right?
It's the game.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Yeah, I got to give you credit. That was pretty smooth. Thank you for my son, not father.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so you got out and you you did a little bit more firefighting and whatnot. But when did you hey, this is it. I'm heading to LA. I want to start acting. When was that decision made, man?
Well, no bullshit. Like if God himself, depending on your beliefs, came down as a kid and asked me what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to do something in the military.
Yeah.
And I say it this way all the time, but it's because it's fact. And I didn't know if that meant in real world or in movies because, we were all raised on Rambo and shit.
Yeah.
So I dabbled in it for the real life. And then the older I got, the more, quite frankly, I got more scared and stuck in practicality. And I know you guys get having a nice salary paycheck, health insurance.
Right.
That shit's very comfortable. Right. So that's why my overlap as a military, I was literally still a Green Beret as I was a firefighter. So I didn't have to transition into that unknown salary world. Mm-hmm. And, no bullshit. I had a divorce go south, and it was the checkbook of how divorces need to go horribly wrong. Like she hit all those points. So it was a country song too. Like she took my guns, she took my dogs, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, women! I'm telling you.
And, yeah. So the firefighters took her. Well, ironically, she was dating a cop while I was a firefighter. Could this be any more cliche?
That's like the biggest insult, right? I always love the natural rift between you guys. Anyway, right?
Naturally,
I
it's
saw
like
him
a
on
fucking
calls,
bad
but,
Charlie Sheen movie.
Yeah, he was a little tubby guy, and I was, big strapping firefighter. So
she liked the
Bosley,
she liked the
Bosley
plumpies, the plumbers, huh? Well,
yeah, and I'm not that kind of guy, but on that one I was. I was like, look, I win. But that shit went down, and I honestly just kept getting more and more. I was like, I really want to do this thing, but I'm old and boring and practical and all that. And
right.
No bullshit. Jim Carrey had a commencement speech floating around the internet at one time. This is about 3 years ago now.
Yeah. And
one of the lines in his speech, I think he was quoting his dad. Mm-hmm. It was something along the lines of, "Don't live a life as fear. Don't live a life of fear that as practicality or disguised practicality that just." Fuck! Now I've already forgot my own quote. Don't live a life with fear disguised as practicality.
Okay.
Something like that. And I was like, shit, I am comfortable in my practical life, and I'm just scared. And I again, I do everything overnight. I was like, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to sell all my shit, give it all away, pack up the car, give my dog to a dog sitter for a couple months, and drove to LA. It was terrifying.
Yeah, that's a hell of a realization to come to with yourself, to admit something like that.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, it was kind of refreshing, but it was at the same time it was utterly terrifying because it's that salary job, resigning from the fire department. I mean, that was just you know.
Yeah, and now you're doing this. You immerse yourself in the Hollywood grind, and we've talked to from all types of actors, from guys that have been super successful to guys that are
totally.
who are just starting out in the world, and they all got the same thing. It is a grind that you guys you guys go through there, man. So well, talk to us about that, man. I mean, you look at your acting resume, and you've been in a lot of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? You look your IMDb is filled, and but I mean, what's like the process? Is it just you're chasing down roles every day? Are you going to auditions like once a week? I mean, or is it like where you go like months without even auditioning?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I think this is where I think it's cool, the military background, and it just what we consider as shitty and sucky is way not the same as what no disrespect to some of my peers, but what they consider shitty and sucky.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want me to go no sleep in a car while I'm chasing all those things, playing psyops and seer games with casting directors? I got this.
Yeah.
So I think that was like, if the 18-year-old Jeff came here, I probably would have cried nightly and opened a vein, because it was just, it's like going through, whether it was recon school or whatever, but constantly being told you suck, but you still have to stay here.
Yeah.
Like you fail, but we're not getting rid of you. But guess what? You're coming back to Hell Week again.
Sure, Jesus.
So it's basically it's that, and I think I came here knowing, like, vowing based on savings, and that if I set myself up to only have one way to quote unquote succeed, then I have to, and that meant, like, I'm not going to come here and be. This will hopefully be my last disclaimer to anybody that this offends. Yeah. But I wasn't going to be out here and move out to be a bartender, a personal trainer, a security guard, a Uber driver / actor. I said, I swear to God, I'm going to come out here and do one thing. I was a bouncer off and on for like a hot minute. Yeah. And luckily, I got just enough to put food on my table and survive. And I had a lot of friends that helped me, as far as couch surfing and all that. And that was where the military came into play. I was like, our level of suck, it just made couch surfing a joke. I was like, this is easy. Yeah. So that was really it. And then it just comes down to, I mean, it's just like some things, there's bare minimum. There's like a classifieds for actors. Yeah. Some of them, no joke. One of them said shit like, so much, like, it's something like $1,000 an hour, and we'll only show you from your mid waist up to your like chest, and we only need to see your arms. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Hold on, dude, I've got my pen.
Don't get me wrong, I was in a tight place, and I was like, what if I didn't have forearm tattoos? I would sign up for this, because I was like, I do that anyway. Now you're gonna pay me to do it? Awesome. Right. So I was like, if I didn't have identifying tattoos, I definitely would have.
Sure. That's funny, man.
So there's a lot of shit like that. Then you do the hustle of asking a friend who knows a friend who has an agent who might want you. Right. And it's disregarding all the malicious people that are probably out there. It's just a constant game. And I always compare it to psyops, where you're just constantly playing the long, I don't want to say con because that sounds malicious, but you're kind of always playing the long con. Yeah. Like I've planted seeds professionally years ago that just came to fruition literally like weeks ago. Wow. It's just constantly doing that. But, like what people know, you do the auditions, you do the hustles, and it gets to the point though, where I really credit the thing that makes military, and for me specifically, all I know is special forces. Yeah. Makes us who we are is that our level of relentless pursuit at like all costs, but that's obviously where marriages fail and relationships struggle and friendships end. Right. So sometimes the very thing that is like my gift is also cursed, but I literally, if it doesn't fall through this triaging of somehow benefiting my career, I almost don't do it. And that's how I looked at when I was chasing the Q courses, the special forces tryouts, basically, or learning pipeline. Mm-hmm. I looked at it like there's nothing else that matters than getting that green piece of felt. And if it doesn't benefit that, I'm not doing it. And that helped end a marriage, and that helped, put a lot of strain on family. But
yeah,
so
it's gotta be tough, man. I mean, like even talking to Rooker, who's a good friend of ours, even him, he's just like, it's still a struggle, I mean, guy's been in over 80 movies, he's starring a lot of stuff, and it's like he goes and he's just like, look, man, if you got to stay on the, what do you call it, the list, right, Ben?
You got to stay on the list.
You guys, if
there's
you're
a list and you want to be on it.
And if you're not on it, you're not working, man.
And that's the thing. And I think that's one of the weirdest things about this industry is we come from, whether you're military or law enforcement or firefighter, the work you put in, you get out. Like if I wanted to be a Green Beret, and as long as I didn't fuck up during the pipeline, I became a Green Beret.
Sure.
Pretty much fact. Obviously it was hard, but out here, I mean, I could put every ounce of my being and ruin relationships into something. Might not get you shit.
Right.
And that's just where, I guess just being relentless comes into play. And like Rooker said, I would imagine, there's like a level of like, you can take a deep breath and relax and go, oh, fuck, I'm okay now.
Right.
But I think every actor, whether you're talking to maybe not Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise to me, there's this fear knowing that technically your employment is in somebody else's hands, no matter how much work you put in.
Yeah.
And crazy, it's one of the rare, and so that's really hard, is the very guy that got me to become a Green Beret mentally. It's also the very thing that constantly fuels me and constantly puts me in fear too.
Do you have is there like a veteran? I mean, is it like hey, veterans hook up other veterans in that?
There is, and I tread this really lightly. There literally are organizations that link up veterans in film and television.
Right.
And so there is that little network within the network, which is huge because, there are a lot of vets that come out and want to dabble in it. And they're like, hey, this sounds like a new thing. I'll try.
Right.
But they literally were an infantryman since 18.
Yeah.
So they have no, and I'm not knocking them, but they have no other skills. Like they can be a infantryman, but they don't know how to do a resume, let alone interact like socially.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's just in a regular world. You go to like, Phoenix or like Fort Bragg or like normal cities.
Yeah.
Some infantrymen are socially retarded.
No, I know.
But you throw them in Hollywood where it's a whole new level. And that's where I think being a Green Beret possibly benefited me more than like, let's just say a SEAL, is because we had to have so many social and psychological interactions with like local populace that you have to read your audience real well. And that's really hard for some veterans that have been an infantryman their whole life.
Sure.
So there are those organizations within, so it's a culture within a culture. And I think obviously that's good just for networking, to be with brothers and et cetera. But it also, I say this objectively, there are two sides to that argument. I've heard a lot of casting directors are sick of veterans going, I'm a vet. And for whatever reason, with real or otherwise, it kind of diluted the waters in that people kind of came across entitled. Yeah. And then, so let's say one vet did that in the last 10 years. It's now, there are casting directors out there that are like, these vets all think they're entitled now because they're vets.
Yeah, and that sucks, man. I mean, I've always told people, like I said, especially guys like me, I did 20 years, so retired. Look, the world doesn't know you shit, and you know what I'm saying. and it's hard to tell when I tell vets this, guys are transitioning. I'm like, look. It's great that you are a fucking commando, Delta, fucking whatever, man. I go, no one gives a fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When you get out, I go, literally, and that's the problem. I mean, we carry a gun. That was my skill, right? Fucking carrying a gun for 20 years, and I get out, and it's like, unless you're going to carry a gun when you get out, like contracting, and I did shit like that, but it's not what you want to do forever. And you think, oh, I'm going to just step right into the civilian world, and everybody's going to like pick me up and put me on the shoulder because I'm a combat veteran. Yeah. Get in line, dude. It doesn't, and God bless them for doing what they did. Totally. But you can't go with that mentality that someone owes me something, And
I think that's the thing, just like whether it's cops or firefighters, that there might have been one or two vets that had that attitude, that just human nature, it ruined it for future ones, and it'll take a lot to combat that negative attitude. And
sure.
I've even heard straight up from 1 degree of separation from casting director where the individual was didn't know the individual personally, but like they were like, we swear to God, this guy had PTSD. He was just off. And I was like, oh shit, that's not obvious. PTSD, straight up real thing. Best friend, I think, fought some serious demons. A lot of my Green Beret brothers are fighting demons. Yeah. But I was like, shit, that's not good. I mean, not to be callous, but that's not good business either.
Right. No.
So it's a cool, the community exists, and it's crazy. I mean, hell, the movie I was talking to you about before we started with Duran. Yeah. That was straight up from a vet who, when in his networking that he spent time cultivating, they said, hey, we're looking for a guy that's X, Y, and Z. this guy goes, I know this guy named Jeff Bosley. He fits the part. Give him an audition.
Yeah.
And it's to date my biggest film. I mean, it bought my Harley. I mean, not to like price drop, but and that was from a veteran.
Sure.
Had nothing to do with the audition system, agents, managers. It was another vet.
Yeah.
So obviously,
I
totally
think,
a legit world.
Yeah, and I think that if veterans going out there, once again, that are listening to this and who are thinking about getting out, or guys who just got out,
yeah.
If you go with the mentality that, like I said, no one owes you anything, you'd be surprised on how the veteran network will start to work for you. You know,
yeah.
You just can't have high expectations that I'm going to get this job. Even if it's down to Home Depot, like I'm going to get this job because I'm a fucking vet. They don't care, man. And it's a sad thing. Yeah, I know it's sad.
Totally.
But it's the truth, man.
And I think there are industries that value that. Like, I think that's why you do get like the extra points on the civil service test because they're like, hey, we want a guy that is on time, that gets structure.
Yeah.
But as you start drifting out of these very unique employment things, whether, Home Depot, for example, that kind of, especially when you get away from places that have a military presence. I mean, what's my closest is San Diego.
Sure.
Like, if I went in and walking around Fort Bragg going, I used to be a Green Beret, they'd be like, suck a dick. So is this guy over here.
Yeah, so is the next 70 guys behind you right now. Yeah.
So here it has value when they like know what it is, but at the same time, they don't value it the way a lot of people assume it would be valued.
Sure.
And I think that's for any vet. Some poor bastard 18-year-old infantryman that all of a sudden realized how to type a resume.
Yeah.
God help them. It's going to be an eye opener.
It is, man. Yeah, and it's. Once again, I try to educate guys as much as possible because this is why I wanted to start working for myself at first, and because I'm like, I didn't want to. It's dealing with that, a boss that was half my age, and that type of stuff. And you're just like, I want to kill this guy. So, it's like I love the entrepreneur side of people that are getting out. Like, hey, I want to start my own business. Okay, cool. No, but you need to do it.
Be ready.
Yeah, be ready to have it suck. And it's always I mean, listen, man. When it was my first few years, I would say out of the Marine Corps was harder than any time I had in the Marine Corps. And it's like, service is easy. I get to go carry a gun, get to work PT, and go overseas and shoot bad guys or whatever. I go, that's the easy part, man. I go, having to come out and survive and literally pay
the real world.
Yeah, real world. There's no check every 2 weeks.
I'm sorry, I'm chuckling over here because every time you go down this road, I start recognizing the similarities between guys that get out of the military and guys that get out of prison.
Oh, okay.
Like the same
thing.
Institutionalized behavior. Bad tattoos, bad divorce stories.
Right.
No, that was a running joke, and I'm sure I'm bastardizing it. It's something like you can tell as long as somebody's been in a Green Beret by how many Harleys and divorces they have.
Yeah.
So and I didn't start getting ink until I was in the military too. It's like, how cliche can we be?
Yeah, I mean, you're right though. It's the institutionalized type of thing, right?
It really is kind of that.
You get in. It is.
You
get
I would
so
say
used
by
to
definition.
Right.
Yeah.
You're so used to that lifestyle, and then I always laugh because everybody's like in the military. That's the thing. I can't wait to get the fuck out, man. When you getting out? When you get out? And then the second they get out, you talked about 6 months later, they're trying to get back in. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, you're right. Well, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is I mean, this is a whole nother level of psychology. Military psychology 101. But you definitely, I mean, you probably can attest to it. Even after 20 years, you get, I don't know about you, but because I'm in a non-military city, I completely like isolate and hole up. I mean, not like I'm all like, oh, everybody needs to worry about Jeff, but you find that you long, even if you're a loner, like as a Delta, I was kind of a nerd loner book guy,
right?
But you still long for like just an ounce of camaraderie.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't got that, you're not going to get it at Home Depot unless you happen to work with another vet.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest damn thing, and I can completely see if you're fucked in the head from bad experiences, how it's times 100.
Yeah. And that was like, I remember when I first got out, like my first year, and we moved to it was a city that had no military bases and whatever. And I never forget like our first little get together party with like, my wife's friends and, our new friends. And like, so you're sitting there, and it was really my first time. I'm sitting there drinking, and I'm like, and I'm trying to tell these stories, right? About, your typical story. So there I was. Yeah. I had this fat bitch in this barracks, and there was like 3 dudes that jump in, and they're all looking at me. I'm like, what do you guys
oh
do?
my
And
God.
they're like, oh, I'm a manager at Costco. And I look at the other guy, he goes, yeah, I work at FedEx. I'm like, so you guys you never triple teamed check out? No? Oh, okay. And my wife's looking at me like, shut your fucking mouth. I'm like,
these are our new family friends.
yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore, man. So, but
You're gonna be like that guy that the fire department stole his wife from.
yeah,
Exactly.
That's awesome. But you adapt though. I'm sure just like you adapted, I've adapted, and so guys are out listening who you're gonna feel a void in your life. There's no fucking doubt. But just like in anything, you're going to get used to it, and you're going to figure out ways. And if like I said, if there's people, some people that can't, because like I said, the PTSD and all that stuff, and that's the guys you need to go after and help wrangle in and all that stuff. Those who see these, those type of people out there that are having these problems, because some people can't adapt, and I get that, man. And it's I thought at one point, I'm sure you thought the same thing, that I was gonna be one of those guys. I'm like, I just can't get used to this shit. So I was like looking at fucking French Foreign Legion. I was like, man, I can go to Ukraine and fight, And then but then you're like, wait a minute, let me just sit back and think about this a second. Life's not that bad. So
I've been there to one degree or another for sure.
Sure. So hey, I gotta ask you, man. Sniper Special Ops, man. That's you. You're in a movie with my boy Steven Seagal, right? How was that? How was that experience? No, let me clarify. We are friends, Steven and I.
No shit.
We are.
Okay.
We're like, we hang out every once in a while, and I say rare because he's always in Russia. But we're like,
he's like a Russian prime minister.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. We're like 3 a.m. text buddies now. I don't know.
Okay.
I know that sounds gay, but it's not that bad. But
no, it's cool as long as you wear.
It could be worse things
for medical purposes.
Yeah. But I just like, I try to get in his head all the time, man, because he is such a. And I'll say it, I tell him, you're weird as fuck, man. You're so, Steven, like, we did some photo stuff for him and all that stuff, and it's like, we're putting him in these, we put him in these images, like he's in Afghanistan with this fucking team, his special operations team, but like he'll call me at 3 a.m. and like, hey, he goes, my next scene I'm going to be in, I need to be, rescuing VIPs but it almost like he starts believing that he's actually in this scene. He did this work, man. And it's like, he believes his own hype sometimes, man.
That's a commitment to the role right there.
I love that.
My one syllable answer is yeah.
Oh yeah, that's about what.
I mean, again, like obviously I'm walking in circles on this, but yes, ditto. You know him way better than I do. But here's the thing: is all my experiences with him were more like hearsay from what you said, from other people that have worked with him.
Right.
And so, like, the one thing, like, I vow to do in this damn city, because not being cocky or like too like the secret hippie, if I believe it'll happen shit.
Yeah.
But I do know the 6.5 foot tall dude that was a former Green Beret that has this look. I know there's not many of me.
Yeah.
So I really am careful about not burning bridges, because I would like to think my future has a future.
Sure.
So, but with that being said, I never speak ill of people until I meet them. Like, even if it's super, like when I found out I was like with Steven Seagal, I was like, okay, cool. I've heard stories, but I wouldn't want somebody to judge me based.
Right.
Because I know, like, instantly people are like, oh, that Green Beret is like, he's a psychopathic killer, or he has pretty blue eyes. He's, he loves boys. I'm like, I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And the little I worked with him was like, unique experience. Not bad.
Yeah.
Unique.
He gets a.
But I mean, if you notice, the thing is I wouldn't ask you to watch the whole movie because it's painful.
I actually watched the whole movie, and you're
right. You're one of the 5.
Yes. Yes, I am one of the 5. In fact, Ben, you got homework, man. I know. I think you tried it once, but you didn't.
I started it. I did not finish it.
Well, that's the thing is Ben. He probably got as far as maybe my death, and it's funny because me and the other guy that died are he's actually a former Green Beret also. Okay. He's the one that got me the job.
Yeah.
So the real Green Berets in the movie, first ones to die.
Don't feel bad, Jeff. I didn't finish Michael Rooker's new movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme either.
Oh, you didn't?
I haven't finished that one yet.
That's like the Expendables of the team.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
but I love Rooker, though, so that's weird that he did it. But, we got to pay bills.
Yeah, you got to pay. That's what it is, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing is one thing I've realized out here is, you know what? It's not like, if you're Tom Cruise, you can make your own shit. I've watched like the last 5 Mission Impossibles this week, so I'm on a Tom Cruise kick.
Yeah.
But like, dude wants to make his movies, knock himself out. But some of us other mere mortals, sometimes you got to pay a bill.
Yes,
if you want to eat,
I like that you fully committed to acting, though. Like, you know
Yeah.
that you're going to Hollywood, and I think you said, like, without the risk of sounding like a hippie. I don't think it's hippie at all to believe so strongly that you were meant to do this, that you're not going to take a job as a bartender. You know, you're going to spend a little time bouncing a door maybe or something.
Yeah.
But I really respect the fact that in your mind, you know this is what you're intended to do in life.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I mean, everybody's their own unique individual, but I mean, honestly, I might have like a slight level of like clinical OCD, but I can't fathom. Like, even when I was doing the Green Beret thing, I couldn't fathom an alternative.
Yeah.
And whether that turns into some like hippie proverbial thing or some just work ethic combo, I couldn't fathom it. Like, I was like, it's almost childishly was ignorant of the options.
Sure.
You know, and that's kind of how I am now. Like, people ask, as lame as it is, people are like, well, what's your 10-year plan? I'm like, oh, same thing.
Yeah.
I can't like, or get hit by a bus. And I knew the more I did it, I'm totally jacked. I did the real Green Beret thing because it was unequivocal as far as life experiences and brothers and just seeing the world the way I did.
Sure.
And it's provided me with what I have now as far as perspective. But like, if I had to choose since I was a kid, I knew this is what I wanted to do. Like, the first time, particularly that big film in Korea with Durand I was mentioning.
Yeah.
When that one happened, that was the first one I saw. Holy shit, they just spent $1 million on this fake door. You know,
You're like, wow.
That's where I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I'm playing pretend, and it's putting food on my table. You know,
and that's cool, man. I like that. So look, man, I gotta throw this out here because I know our audience, and I'm gonna be as vanilla as possible because once again, I know how it is and how you get in trouble.
It's so badass. I use the exact same phrase when I'm telling like off the record stuff to like my manager. I'm like, I gotta be so vanilla.
Yeah. So obviously it's there's obviously a political climate in LA right now, obviously, and it turns off a lot of people, especially like our fans, right? Because they're like,
totally.
We're all. It seems like all of us are like, we love the old action movies, we love all that stuff, but it seems like all the stuff now, there's always a political overtone that just if you're on the wrong side of the fence, it's tough, man. Is there like, I mean, how hard is it regardless? I'm not even going to ask you your stance because I don't care.
Yeah.
But do you have to play along to get roles? I mean, because it seems like that's the thing you have to do, man.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is up to the individual, and I think that's where it sounds like I'm a recruiting poster, but I honestly think that's where the combination of however my brain was, because I had prior college and prior life experience before I did the whole Green Beret thing, which had the hearts and minds. You know, the fact I base most of the stuff I do in Hollywood when I had to like meet with like a warlord of a people only to be on their good side so they didn't kill me. Yeah. I was like, well, shit, that's Hollywood in a nutshell.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And so I think it depends on the individual. For me, like I mean, let's just talk guns. I won't even dance around on that. I love guns. Lifetime NRA member. Yeah. I don't walk into every casting room and like, I read the audience and go, pretty sure this guy or girl is not pro guns. Right. Why even bring it up? Because I need a job. I want to live my dream. Yeah. And it's not that I think some maybe vets or just some individuals like feel like by just being neutral or vanilla, like you and I are saying, they're like selling out. But to me, I look at them like, no, I'm playing psyops here. Right. I will play the game. I'm not going to like, well, it's smart. Stab friends in the back. Yeah. I read my audience and I'm going to build rapport another way. I'm not going to lie about it, but at the same time, I'm not going to like brag about it either. So yeah, you got to be able to read that political environment. And like you see like people like when they get big enough in their career, like Tim Allen, perfect example. Yeah. You know, he spoke out or, had his opinions and coincidentally his show got canceled. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But, and it's like, well, shit. However, I do always say this, all seriousness, but jokingly, I want to get to a point in my career where I can actually not take it down a notch because I'm not dependent on so many people. Right. Doesn't mean I'm going to be like this abrasive, like running around with a gun on my hip, talking about my thoughts on abortion. But to constantly walk on glass in this environment, deployments, I did it for, 6 to 9 months. Come home, I could be myself and have my opinions here. Right. It's all the time. So to Tim Allen's credit, using him, he got to the point in his career, he's like, you know what, fuck, I'm going to say this. Yeah. All right, I lost my job. It sucks. I'm pissed, but I was at a point in my career where I can still eat.
He can still do that. Yeah, and I get that, man. And then honestly, there's no shit. When we found out that, hey, we got Jeff, we're going to interview him, I went and I looked, man. It's like that's my first thing I do now when we get a new guest is like I got to go to social media, right?
Yeah,
and
of course.
and it's like, look, if they're reposting fucking shit from holding Trump's head or whatever, it's not our audience, man.
Yeah.
But I love how you're. I said that I used the word vanilla again, but you stay that way. I love with people who keep politics out of their social media.
Yeah.
Man, that's
the thing is, I completely agree, and I think it's weird because I see kind of the argument where like people get so big, they're like, well, cool, I believe in this cause. Like, I'll even use Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm just pulling this out of my ass. Like, I see him on Instagram a lot, posting a bunch of shit about saving the world and all that.
Yeah.
And it's not like in your face painful.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, I see the argument of like he's using his platform and his notoriety to help a cause he believes in.
Right.
So I'm like, well, fuck, that makes sense.
Sure.
But then on the flip side of it, we got, not to get too into it, some dude talking about, taking a knee during the flag. And I'm like, well, now I'm angry.
Right.
Like, I'm my own worst enemy on that. But I think, in my opinion, it like, what it's the phrase? You don't talk about like religion, politics and whatever. That's kind of, I'm the same way. Like I have a shirt on that topic that actually says, I don't kneel. I wore it to the gym. Never doing that again.
Oh man, I bet. Yeah. It's
because I didn't get into it with people. I was like, look, I'm here to work out. I'm not here to talk politics. And that was my fault for wearing this, but you obviously see my belief,
Well, that's something, and same here. Like we try not to, well, we get in a little podcast. We talk a little bit politics, but like our magazine, we don't talk politics at all, but there's no doubt what we like. We like our constitutional rights, and that thing also includes your First Amendment. So if you don't agree with the president, fine. I have no problem with someone, And
I completely, I'm the same way. Like I'm a vanilla with maybe a dose of chocolate, but I do want to. I'll probably never change, but to constantly be aware of it. Yeah. That's kind of the mentally taxing part is, and almost to a fault. Like my girl and my parents or my family are all like, God, that guy just needs to take it down a notch. And it's because I'm constantly thinking, what if?
Sure.
Not because I'm a little scared little girl,
but
it comes across that way probably to anybody that knew me in the military. They're like, Jesus, Jeff is constantly fearful of what people think. Not because I'm a little baby. It's because my job depends on it. Whether I like it or not.
Sure.
Yeah,
they're running the show. Until I have my own. Until I'm running my own show, I got to play their rules.
Yeah, and I get, and I try to tell people because I know there's a just cause talking to other actors as well. There's I don't say I can't even give a percentage. There's a percentage of people that are, pro 2A, even pro Trump, but they're just like, look, I'm just going to shut the fucking mouth and I'm going to work until basically like what you said, until I am big enough platform, I'm big enough, or I got enough money where I can say what the fuck I want.
Yeah, and I think, that's the thing is I think I always say the phrase something like, I'll play their game, but I'm not going to use their rules.
Sure.
They don't need to know it, And I think it can go two different directions where people get to the level of like, fuck you money. And that can either be, hey, I'm going to actually have an image of me holding Trump's severed head.
Right.
That's one level of fuck you money. And the other one, just using Leonardo DiCaprio, is like, look, I'm going to push environmentalism.
Yeah. And that's fine.
And I think that's the two levels. But that fuck you money, to beat that phrase to death, it is, I can only imagine the peace that brings some people.
Yeah. Well, it's ridiculous because it's like, you look at, who was it the other day? De Niro, right?
During the Tony Awards.
Who gets up and to me, it's like, I have no problem. If you don't like Trump, then fine. That's fine. That's why we're Americans, Totally. But to get up and act like a fucking third grader and like, fuck you, Trump, and and all that, it's just like,
I always take like the subject these days out of it. I take Trump out of it, and I replace our last president Obama's name in there. Would I have liked it if he said fuck Obama? No, I'd have felt the same way.
Sure.
Exactly.
It's just not
That's
the
actually
time
a really
or place.
good litmus test.
It's just not the time or place, and I don't like anyone disrespecting my president, whether I chose him or not. Yeah. It's my president of the United States.
And that's how it was.
That's how
it was in the military. I used it as a cop out. I was like, whether I like it or not, he's my commander in chief.
That's right. Yeah. And shit changes, in 4 years, 8 years, whatever. I
think it's a real basic test for me. And Jason and I go back on this a lot. I think you sound like a sound mind the same way too. But have you ever agreed with anybody in your life 100%? I don't agree with Jason 100%. I don't agree with my wife 100%.
Yeah.
So why should it come as a shocker? I don't agree with the current president 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's so weird that people are just like drawing this line in the sand all of a sudden.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's very strange to
That's
me.
actually a really good way to put it. Because I mean, if you think about that with a mate, I mean, in this day and age, I'll just say it for me, a girl.
Yeah,
right.
If she was a clone, I would fucking kill her.
It'd be a nightmare.
You know?
Yeah, a nightmare.
Yeah. So
I just and like
really
I said, I have no problem with people not seeing my views or whatever, but it's like the censorship type of stuff that you're seeing a lot. This look even, for instance, Brownells, who it's they're like the Amazon of guns. They got pulled, man. They got YouTube.
Oh yeah,
they
YouTube.
just drop, and and once again that's a revenue maker for Brownells, and without warning. And so, but they have the right to do that. But to me, that's censorship, and I think that's bullshit. The same way I'm not going to censor Sarah Silverman or whatever. You gotta run your mouth. But I don't know. Anyway, once again, I was like, we never talk politics. Like I'm fucking talking politics.
This is why.
Talking examples on both sides. Of the
It's just weird because we never get to talk a little bit about that when guys are behind enemy lines or whatever you want to call it, right? But I get what your stance. If you want to work, you got to play ball a little bit, and people will be like, well, that's fucked up, man. You should stand what you believe in. Well, then I guess you go get a job at Home Depot then, because
that's the thing is exactly I mean. Are you a sellout or are you just feeding your family?
Sure.
And then to me, I always call it the long con without being a dick, but I'm also going, okay, I'm planning this to pay off later. So I go, okay, I went through those sufferings. Yeah. And now it's like, F you. I saw one comedian, not even speaking firsthand knowledge, but the whole Me Too thing. Mm-hmm. So let's say hypothetically actress A did these things with Weinstein.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's say actress A now she's like, fuck you money. Now I'm taking you to court.
Right.
Almost like, I'm not saying I'm condoning what she may or may not have done, but it's kind of like, well, she kind of played him in his own game and said, I'll buy time. I'll go through this. And then, years later, I'm going to end you.
Yeah.
And she got her career out of it.
Sure.
I mean, all hypothetical, but it sucks because that's the environment we're in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's okay. I mean, same as war. I mean,
sure.
Hollywood, I look at as like an IED. IEDs are like chicken shit warfare.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, they're almost fucking genius. They cost 10 cents.
Yeah.
Take one guy, kill morale, kill supply routes.
Sure.
And so he's like, well, fuck, if we're going to play that game, I'm going to wear my Arab man dress and steal a Toyota pickup so I don't get IED'd.
Right.
It's shady, but it's how I'm going to win.
There you go. No, so you got to do, man.
I just made that one up off the top of my head.
That was pretty good, though, man. Write that one down. Well, what about, awesome. Okay, you do a lot of, I see a lot of your movies, man. One genre I haven't seen, and maybe I didn't catch it, but is the horror genre, man. You were expecting gay porn. I know I was going to, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, no, that's a whole other webpage.
Yeah. But the horror genre, have you done any horror?
You know what? I'm trying to think. I've not straight up done horror.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is this is kind of the answer to probably a lot of stuff. Is one thing I have, I think, an aptitude for or like a hyper awareness of is that long game of the risk of getting, I don't want to say typecast, but I'm constantly thinking, okay, what would this do long term?
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of times I for a very short amount of time, barely ever played the giant guy with tattoos and muscles because you can get stuck and you're screwed. So I look at it like I'm like, my metaphor is always like Mel Gibson.
Okay.
He started his career playing the exact same Martin Riggs, Lethal Weapon guy for a hot minute.
Right.
And then he got to a point, and I don't know if he did it by design or coincidence or typecasting or both. But then he got to the point where he's like, fuck you, I'm making Passion of the Christ, and it's all going to be in Aramaic.
Yeah.
If he did that in the beginning of his career, he would have been destroyed.
Done.
But he got what he wanted. So I'll meet a lot of these actors, and I think a lot of vets run into this when they come into the artsy-fartsy world. It's like, I'm going to spread my wings and diversify. It's like, okay, cool. You're not going to work.
Right.
Yeah. And so I always play that line of like, a horror would be hilarious and a blast.
Yeah.
But the odds of, and this is just the sheer meticulous thought process behind me looking at auditions, the odds of the 6.5 foot tall guy, 250 pounds with muscles and tattoos, playing a role that doesn't get him typecast is really slim.
You don't think
I'll be the monster or really were nothing.
You don't think they'll pick you as the Scream Queen?
So I always look at all those roles that way. Yeah,
not you.
Or I'll like rewrite the script.
Typecast as a girl that always shows her boobs. No.
Hey,
straight for the monster. This Jeff.
Like I said, if I got to show some cleavage, I will show some cleavage. So that's the thing is I have to look at every role that way, and I don't know if I have to per se, but I want to know. There's a billion things out of my control. Yeah. I want to try to do as much as I can as far as like foreseeing. So sure. I love the lovey-dovey romantic shit. Yeah. But I know when I walk into a casting room, I could be an Oscar-winning actor, and to a stranger, they'll be like, this guy can't play sensitive. Look at him. Yeah. And I got to play that game. So it's me playing a victim in a horror movie just means I was the first guy to die. Right. Yeah. You make a good point though. You say, look at Robert Englund, right? Freddy Krueger. Oh yeah. Perfect. Yeah. He's done. So, watch him.
Jeff, you've thought this out very well.
Try to put him in another role, and it doesn't work. Hey, there's Freddy Krueger. He's an action movie or horror or whatever. It's always Freddy Krueger. So I get what you're saying, man. Yeah, and it's a catch-22, and I mean, not to go, like, look at the people, like Johnny Depp, up until he did Pirates, he disappeared, and you're like, holy fuck, okay, cool, now he's, Pirates and a little crazy. He's he almost like inverted his typecast. Yeah. And then like Brad Pitt, I'll go back to Tom Cruise, my man crush of the week. Yeah. I don't care what movie he's in, you go, hey, there's Tom Cruise. Like sure, no, you're absolutely. I mean, so it's a weird system of like you want work, but The Rock, another great example. It's like it's The Rock. Yeah, especially big muscle dudes. You're definitely screwing yourself. I already know as the tall guy, I'm already at a loss because there's like shit people don't even think about. This will be a little revelation today for y'all, maybe. Yeah. The tall guy, like most actors and actresses are short, and even if I'm like God himself said, cast Jeff Bosley, they'll be like, well, that person opposite him is shorter, so we're going to have this crazy amount of white space above his or her head to get Jeff in the same shot. Too much work. Cast the other guy that's almost as good. But and it's just I get it, but it's a weird fact, and it's crazy. It's, like I remember. No,
that makes perfect sense when you put it that way. You got to be really funny to be like little Kevin.
I look at it like as a producer, I'm like, okay, get it. I don't want to put a dude on an Apple box, or I don't want to relight for this taller guy or play camera tricks. Fuck it, it's too much work. He's not famous. Why would we work around him? Same with tattoos. Yeah. I hide the shit out of mine, knowing if I'm going to like a Disney audition, they don't want me to be inked up.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, for sure.
So there's all these, and then the other thing is in the casting process is it's run by humans. Yeah. I talked to a casting director where she's like, I don't remember we became friends, and she's like, there are days I don't remember the first half of it because of auditions, which could be literally some auditions you're in there for less than 2 minutes. Wow. And they're churning those out for 8 hours a day for a role for sometimes up, a week or longer. So from 8 a.m. to lunch, they have 4 hours of auditions. She goes, I had to pee so bad. I remember my first half of the day's auditions. Damn. And I was like, shit, that's a good point. It's human nature. Yeah. She tuned out and, like 30 dudes' dreams were crushed because she had to urinate. Yeah.
Holy shit, man. God, it's a crazy business, man.
I'm depressing myself.
Yeah, I know.
God, I gotta go watch a feel-good movie. Yeah. Sniper Special Ops.
There you go. Damn. I love it when Seagal calls me. It's so funny, man. I think I said this on the mic before, man, but he'd be like, Jason, Steven Seagal. And I'm like, no shit. I see it right here. And then it's so weird, though, because he talks that way. He talks like he does on the movies. When I first met him, it was such a trip because I thought he was fucking with me. I was at his house, which is it's an amazing house. It's like you're just entered Japan, right? It is insane, man. And these Japanese gardens, and there's like 40 females just floating around. I'm like, what the hell's going on around here? And assistants, by the way.
I needed to hear this.
My air quotes going on, assistants. But no, he don't listen, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. But it was like he was talking to me. I'm like, I feel like I'm in a fucking movie with him because he's talking to me just the way he talks. That laid back. He has that cocked head. He's got his glasses on. And I'm like, yep. I'm wondering if he's going to break my arm in a second because that's like the next thing that happens in these movies, man. So it's pretty awesome.
He's a little that was the thing is I didn't actually. He drug not even my body, because I'm not saying one way or the other, but like when my character died, spoilers in the show,
Yeah.
like he comes in and gets my gear off my body, and it was a stand-in body because I was too heavy for him to
Sure.
drag.
Oh yeah. No, I
So
know.
like I literally shared air with him like never.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I mean, we had zero screen time. But I met him in like the buddy, the other Green Beret that got me the job. He goes, "Let's go introduce you to Steven." And I went
Cool.
same fucking thing. Like it was his house, but in a trailer.
Yeah.
And I walk in there and he's like, "Hi, nice to." I mean, exactly. Like the minute you said his voice, I was like, "I told her."
That's it, man. I know.
Nice to meet you. I'm Steven. He referred to himself in the full name. He was like, "I'm Steven Seagal."
Yeah. It's a lot.
I'm Jeff Bosley.
A lot of third person stuff. I know. It's crazy, man.
Steven Seagal's not happy to meet you.
Yeah, no shit. Hey, I got one more thing, man. Before
Shit, dude,
I told you, I told you we had 50 minutes, and like we're.
I don't care, dude. I love this shit.
Yeah. Look, I gotta ask.
Oh.
Bosley hair restoration.
Yep.
I'm just
I don't
asking.
hide that one. But you're right.
I'm just asking for a friend. My friend is actually
Okay.
Ben, by the way. So. No, I sit there going through, once again, researching it. And I'm like,
Hells yeah.
I saw Bosley hair restoration. And I'm like, hey, there's Jeff. He's doing like a hair restoration commercial or whatever. And I was like, that's fucking. All right, so does it work or what's up, man? I mean, what?
Dude, I've had 4 hair transplants.
No
I would
shit.
be bald. I've had no joke.
That's awesome.
It's well, that's the other thing is it's not even pompous. It's to assume it is my family. That's like my uncle's company.
Well, okay, that was what I was going to ask. Because I'm like, well,
it's not a coincidence.
It's his last name. I'm like, I don't know if it's just a coincidence or what.
Yeah, most people assume it's coincidence because it's so far fetched.
Yeah.
But it's totally. Like if Jason Statham, obviously he shaves his head, but you can tell he's bald on top.
Sure.
That's how I was before the procedures, and shit works. It's
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
you got hair now, man. That's all. It's
totally. Well, I was like, I want to play some Navy SEALs in the movies. I got to get more
you
fucking
need
hair.
Yeah, and a big watch. Don't forget the big watch, man. So.
I love that you get that. There have been jobs where I'm like, I got to wear my damn suit though. You know?
Yep, that's it, man.
It's literally sitting next to me from an audition I did this last week.
Yeah. You know what I love though about this? So this is the whole hair thing is you own it, dude. You know what I'm saying? Where a lot of people are like, oh, I can't let anybody know that I got hair, whatever, transplants.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck, dude. It's like I didn't want to be bald, so I can either wear a rug on my head that just or I can just go get surgery. And look,
and that's the thing is I've always vowed in my little amount of moments of like the secret fantasizing, create my own universe bullshit.
Yeah,
is I'm like, if things go the way I want to, and this is very touchy feely, but like I want some aspiring, whether it's a kid or even adult that's doing something scary, to have access to what I would have liked to have access to growing up. When internet or social media didn't exist, you know, like to see Stallone on Instagram is weird to me. Yeah. It's like too late.
Yeah.
But like if I saw, X person that inspired me growing up, just kind of being the way I think I am as much as I'd like to be, that'd be awesome. So like I look at it that way, like there's very few things I don't say. Right. I'm completely honest about a hair transplant, not only because I think it's cool, like, oh, pat me on the shoulder, I'm honest. Yeah. But honestly, because I'm like, yeah, fuck, I look younger with it. It gets me more work.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm insecure. So I have, two birds, one stone.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I completely agree.
I just love it. You man up to it. You say it. So, and like I said, I've always hated people that hid, like, or especially like plastic surgery or someone got new boobs or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it looks like your face is on fire.
Yeah.
We know you had surgery.
And it's like, but they'll deny it. Like, no, these are my natural tits.
Totally. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the funny thing.
They've always been way up here by my shoulders. Always. Look at my high school
and they
photo.
always felt exactly the same.
Yeah.
Always.
I know. Well, it was up until my uncle who started the company, that passed, he, to his credit, he didn't want to involve family because it would kind of I can't think of the word, it would look obviously biased because of course the family member is going to support it. So like even in the commercials, you'll notice it says Jeff B. So unless you know me, you don't realize I'm of the family. And even like literally my first billboard and only one thus far is a ginormous fucking Bosley ad. Like I don't know if you ever. I mean, and here's not even cocky. Like this is just funny to me. Yeah. Like to compare size with The Rock, jokingly. Yeah. It was the same size as the Baywatch one on the opposite side.
Hell
so
yeah.
it was like my mug on Sunset Boulevard advertising hair transplants. So
that's awesome. Man.
I was like, yes, I've made it. I'm in Hollywood.
I'm fucking on a billboard in Hollywood. Yeah, it's
yeah.
Hey, at least it's not like herpes medicine or something. You know what I'm saying? It could be
Oh,
worse.
yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, see, getting back to that friend stuff right there. Mm-hmm.
And that was exactly it. It's a lot of people, they need to pay paychecks, and there are
Hey.
times where I'm like, I'm glad I didn't take that foot fungus commercial.
Oh yeah.
You know, because that shit's forever. Not foot fungus, but
Yeah.
the commercial.
Look, man, I remember when I first got stopped fucking going overseas and doing all my stuff and retired. I opened a photo studio, right? And
Okay.
didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So to learn, I was learning with stock photography, right? And to this day, anytime, and I'll tell anybody who goes to a any USO or sees a USO sign or anything, there's a picture on almost every USO sign in airports across America that is it's a back of a behind shot of this Marine holding his daughter, and she has a little American flag, but both their heads are kind of tucked, like a big hugging scene. That's me. That is fucking
You
me.
piece of shit.
I'm like,
awesome.
and my friends are all who know that was me. It was so funny because
Was it staged?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I wasn't even
that's
wearing
awesome.
pants. I was wearing like fucking shorts, but I had my
Like, what will pull at heartstrings?
Yeah.
Daughter, Marine,
Oh yeah.
flag.
Yeah.
check.
Oh yeah. Big hug. Like I just got back from deployment. Yeah, it was
That's so awesome.
totally staged, and it's been sold like over 10,000 times, and I see it
everywhere.
everywhere. You know, it was actually. So this is the killer part. I remember I was I took my my wife and my kid to watch. What was that fucking Navy SEAL movie about fucking 7-8 years ago? It was the one.
Wahlbergs?
No, it was oh fuck. I'm totally drawing a blank right now. It was God damn it. Anyway,
Sorry, can't help you.
yeah, it was a kind of it was shot. It was like I don't know. Anyway,
Oh, the one where the real SEALs played themselves?
yes. What the fuck was that called, man? I can't
I
remember.
can't
Anyway,
Yeah.
so we're watching it, and Acts of Glory, Acts of Valor, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Act of Valor. And at the very end, when the credits roll, I'm getting ready to get up, and my wife's like, "Stop!" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, what I do?" She goes, "Look at the screen." I look over, and the very first image they run in the credits is myself and my daughter. I'm like.
Oh, man.
I probably,
if you would have had an agent, you'd be
Yeah, I
collecting
know.
royalty checks on that shit.
I'm like, it was stock photography. I'm
You
like,
guys, yeah.
they probably
yeah, you
bought that
saw it,
image for
yeah.
like $6, you know?
Oh, totally.
I'm
You
like,
guys are
I mean, yeah,
correct.
you can't fault them. They got their money's worth out of you.
yeah.
There you go.
I know. So I'm
You
like,
are one cheap picture.
and then everybody's like, hey, Swore, your back of your head's famous. And I'm like, okay, here comes the porno joke. Sorry, go ahead. You know?
Whatever it takes, baby.
Yeah, I know.
You guys are correct, though. It was Active Valor.
Active
It was
Valor.
2012.
There we go.
Good memory, guys.
Thanks, man. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, look, man. What upcoming projects we got, man? Because I want our Skillset fam to follow you, man, and start checking you out, man.
Well, the easy pimp out stuff is I lucked out. I'm literally the only Jeff Bosley that has any sort of like social media. So
Nice.
I was like, well, Hugh Jackman uses the word "the" in front of all his handles.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm the Jeff Bosley.
The Jeff Bosley.
You know? Yeah. So apparently
It
that's
works.
what you do.
Yeah, sure.
And so like, all the social media on that, I always joke I want to make it so I can get off social media, but I'm probably kidding myself.
Right.
My website, I don't even know why people have websites anymore because everybody just uses social media.
Sure.
But same thing, jeffbosley.com.
Okay, cool.
But the thing I will pimp out, and this is just funny as hell to me, is the Call of Duty, for the Call of Duty fanatics.
Yes.
Like apparently, and this is new to me. Like I play, but apparently there's like a huge nerd storyline. Like
yeah.
I was
Oh yeah.
Googling myself like a complete douchebag, and like my character was Nomad, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
Right.
Apparently, Nomad was supposed to have died in the last one, and oh my god, he's back in Black Ops 4. But I'm Nomad.
Wait, you're
Like,
made. You're perfectly made for a horror movie. Then that's what I'm saying. Like you always come back, right? You'll never die.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly that or soap operas.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
will
so-
go home. Yeah, I will go home today and tell my son about this interview, and that is the only part he will care about.
Yeah.
Totally.
No
oh
offense.
yeah. And that's the thing is it's so funny because it's like I have some creepy like child molester Fu Manchu. Like I shot a commercial for a Jeep, which would have been this awesome huge royalty check scenario,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
didn't air it.
Oh.
But I had
Bastards.
to grow this like wicked, like 1800s cavalry handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
So it looks cool in costume, but walking around Hollywood, I look like a complete asshole. But I happened to have it for the Call of Duty audition, and they're like, "Can you keep that?" I was like, "Oh fuck, sure, got it."
Yeah.
And then, but the thing is, it was so secret they didn't tell us it was for Call of Duty until like we were
Wow.
done shooting. Like I had no idea what I was even doing.
Really?
And then and then some people saw some images. I was like, "Holy fuck, that's me! Holy shit, I'm in a video game."
Hey.
I thought I was just like going to be on like the covers and
Yeah.
like, the brochures and whatnot, but I saw some gameplay when what's that IGN or something, the big gamer network.
Yep.
Posted some gameplay on there. I was like, holy fuck, that's me. That child molesting looking dude with a dog.
That's pretty awesome though, man. That
So,
you're
yeah, I mean,
actually a character in a video game. That's Call of Duty Black Ops 4, right?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming out. I should know this. Like I get a chunk of money, but I don't. September or October, I think.
Okay.
3rd.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's apparently I played Nomad. But
That's
what's funny is we were gonna like go a little business likeness rights thing, but apparently since Nomad had already existed in other games, I look like him versus him looking like me. So I was like, oh no, like
you actually owe him money now. Right?
Yeah, I owe a fictional character chunk of my residuals. God damn it.
Well, look, if we ever have a skill set movie, I need you to play me, okay? Because I need a guy who's 6'4" and like 270 or whatever.
I have a horrible
I will train for you. We'll have a cool behind the scenes montage of me hiring some famous trainer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To get sick.
There we go.
Wait, who would play Ben? Ben.
I was just thinking when we had Michael Rooker in here, wasn't he in a video game too?
He was in a.
My son had him sign something.
Yeah.
Was his video or was it his voice?
Maybe it was just his voice. No, there's a character of him.
Is it?
Yeah, he plays himself in something.
That's awesome.
Very weird.
Yeah, that's when you know
I
you
don't
made
know.
it when you're your own.
So see, you're on the fast track, Jeff. Everything you're doing is paying off.
Slow but sure.
I think Ben. I think Chris Rock needs to play you.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I was thinking that Kevin Hart guy because he's short too.
Oh yeah.
Dude, yeah, I was gonna say a short black dude.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can't be a medium height one.
Right?
Fuck, dude.
We're cool. That's awesome.
Oh well, I'm like I said, I'm shit at this. I actually got to go to my own IMDb. If you want to see me in a 3-way with Uma Thurman and Maggie Q, there's a movie out that just came out.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah. We shot it 3 years ago, but it just came out. It's called The Con Is On.
Okay.
It's on iTunes. It's don't even watch it for me. Just watch it for Uma Thurman.
Yeah, well, I mean, 3-way. Yeah. That's not bad, man.
That was like one of my first. Oh yeah, no, it's a story for another day. But
I love you in Pulp Fiction, by the way.
Yeah. She told me. Now we'll take this one to the grave. She goes, you're the first man I've ever worked with that made me feel like a woman. I was like, God damn right I am.
Could you say that one more time? Get my phone ready.
I got to record this. She's tall. And that's her failure, or not failure, her obstacle in Hollywood is to be a tall female. God help. That's horrible.
Yeah. Sure.
So I was like, well, if you ever need me to make you feel like a man on any other movie.
Yeah. Spread the word.
Yeah, here's my card.
Yeah, no shit. That's awesome.
And then the big one I kept talking about, it's called Take Point.
Yeah.
Chris Evans did a movie in South Korea called Snowpiercer. And that started some sort of trend for probably budgetary reasons to shoot in South Korea, which at first I was like, oh shit, I'm dying. And that was the legit, holy shit, there's money everywhere. Not for me so much, as much as just like the production. And that's coming out later this year. And that was the one.
Okay. I
was telling you, guy, if you guys know, for those who are listening, you probably know the name Kevin Durand, but you don't know why. He had a huge character arc on Lost. He was on FX TV show called The Strain. He was on.
He was in Vikings. Yeah.
Oh, was he?
Oh, yeah.
There was another movie I gotta look. Vikings. Yeah, huge arc
Vikings
there. And then
awesome. I remember his character in there. Yeah.
There was a character. When I say this, you guys will be like, "Oh, that movie. Smoking Aces."
Oh yeah. I love
that. Yeah. He was like the psycho in that with like a.
I know who you're talking about. I do know who you're talking about now. Okay. Sure.
He's in it. He was like kind of the main draw of the film, being the main cast. But it was kind of an Expendables-esque movie, like as an ensemble thing. So
I'm stoked.
And it was cool because he's an older dude like me, so we kind of like we hooked up, and that was anything to succeed. We became
Took me a second. I'm like, oh wait, what?
And he's taller than you would think. He's about 6'4", 6'5" too. And so like we were like the old broken Great Danes on set talking about how bad our knees hurt.
That's
so
awesome,
we become friends. Like he's my Steven Seagal to you know. we text and hang out here and there, and that'll be a cool movie. I think it's gonna be like, not to be anti-US-ist, but like the Asian culture, their work ethic is no joke.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
daily, like we would see footage like that you'd hear always called dailies.
Yeah.
We're like, shit, is this ready to release tonight? Like they would almost have this shit edited nightly.
Shit. Wow.
And it looks, I mean, as a nerd, as a movie, just a guy that likes to watch. I mean, I just watched 3 Mission Impossibles in a row. Obviously, my standards are low, but like this fucking movie looks like it'll be fun as hell.
Is that a requirement to become a member of Scientology? You have to watch all his films.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Are we on to something here? Are you trying to?
to?
Yeah. See, I think we're discovering something right here. That's what it is.
Oh yeah,
Exclusive.
totally. So, do you have to audition to be?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you just give them all your money and show up.
There you
right?
go. Yeah.
That's why they won't have me, because they're like, oh, you need money.
Yeah, you still owe Call of Duty some monies anyway, so
Exactly. They IMDb you to get into the church.
yeah, that's your resume.
Like, not enough credits for this guy.
Oh shit.
That's badass.
That's awesome. Well, Jeff, thanks, man. Look, it's,
yeah,
it's
guys,
been
this has
awesome.
been awesome.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, guys. Listen, JeffBosley.com, or just follow him on IG, the Jeff Bosley, and man, you gotta look. I have I don't even got through like half the stuff I want to talk to you about. So look, we gotta do a part 2 of this, man. You know,
part 2 of this.
it'd be badass, and maybe like I said, when your new movie comes out, I want to. We'll bring it around that time, man.
Oh, yeah, we could do like a Mystery Science Theater.
Oh,
yeah, I like that.
I love that idea.
We've been toying with that idea for a while. That'd be great.
So,
well, you got to do it quick, because Rogan's going to start doing it.
That son of a bitch. He does
you
everything.
got to do it quick.
He's like the fucking
Because he does the
Simpsons
Spy
anymore.
Companions, but now he's going to do movie companions.
Yeah, no,
like
he totally
Spider.
is like the Simpsons anymore. You know, Simpsons did it thing. It
Yeah.
drives me crazy. It's like every time I think I have a good idea, I find out Rogan's
done it already.
Yeah. I don't get. Oh, yeah. You can't. We didn't invent anything.
That's the shit, right?
Badass.
Well, all right, Jeff. I'm gonna let you go, man. Thanks again,
Awesome, guys.
dude. And like I said, guys,
I'm honored. Thank
make
you.
sure you follow Jeff, and then we'll have you back on for sure, dude. Because I had a great time today, man. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Ben, how we looking, man? We good?
I think that's a wrap, guys.
All right. So, guys, thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.